Hello and welcome. You're watching NDTV. I'm Vedant Agarwal. Our lead story. Well, the suspense over Vinesh Phogat's silver medal appeal continues. This is the top global sports court or sports tribunal has extended the deadline for the verdict. The verdict is now likely to be announced, or perhaps will be announced for sure now on the 13th of August. So a delay in the verdict. What does it mean really for Vinesh Phogat? This has been a long battle for her, a long night of torture, and then her disqualification because she was overweight by a mere 100 grams. My colleague Rika Roy is live with us from Paris. So Rika, the deadline has been extended now to the 13th. What does it really mean for her appeal?
Well, you see, since the deadline has been extended, we know that there are certain clarifications that the arbitrator has asked from Vinesh Phogat's lawyers, the four French lawyers who are representing Vinesh Phogat. So those clarifications have to be given to the arbitrator. We were reporting earlier that it will come tomorrow, which is on Sunday at 6 p.m. But now we know that the deadline has been extended till 13th of August, 6 p.m. That's when the verdict is expected to come. And it will be after the Paris Olympic Games, because the Paris Olympic Games end on the 11th. Really, Vinesh Phogat has to wait for a couple of days more for that verdict to come. What I can tell you at this point in time that her case is not just being argued over technical points, because if you only argue the case on technical points on the UWW rules, perhaps there was no way that she could have won a silver medal. We won't be able to, even say that she has 1% chance, because in the last Olympic Games in Tokyo, one of the home wrestlers, Ryo Higuchi, was disqualified for being 50-gram overweight. Here, Vinesh was 100 grams overweight, and he did not get a turnaround. So Vinesh's case is not just being argued on technical grounds, but also on humanitarian grounds, on the fact that this wrestler has fought a very long, hard battle to get to the gold medal match. Also, there are certain, issues of body integrity that has been talked about, the spirit of Olympism, all of those put together in the case. We will have to really wait and see what takes precedence, whether it's the humanitarian angle in this case or just the mere technical aspects and the UWW rules.
That's right, Rika. In fact, that's an important point you're making, that there is no precedent here, perhaps, which is why the case has to be looked at from a humanitarian lens. But break it down for us. Technically speaking, and solely on technical grounds, is Vinesh Phogat entitled to a silver medal? Of course, what the verdict is going to be is something that we'll have to wait and watch. But technically speaking, what is Vinesh Phogat's case here?
Solely on technical grounds, Vinesh Phogat cannot win a silver medal, because UWW rules clearly say that you have to go for a weigh-in on the day of the competition, and you can't miss that. If you are overweight, you cannot be allowed to fight the bout, to participate in the bout. And that is why Vinesh Phogat was disqualified. Though it was a question of only 100 grams, they can't be overweight by even an ounce. There is no room for wrangling. There's no room for negotiation there, because we have precedents of other wrestlers. Even Vinesh Phogat earlier, not in Olympic Games, but in other competition, have faced disqualification. This is not a new rule. This rule has been there for a while, and every wrestler is aware. We also know Aman Sherawat. We spoke to him yesterday that he was 4.6 kilograms overweight after his first day of 3 bouts, and he had to work overnight, work very hard to get the weight in control to fight in the 57-kilogram category. So the rule is for everyone. The rule cannot be changed, or the UWW will not bend their rules for one wrestler. While as important an event as the Olympic Games is on, if there are suggestions for rule change, it will only happen after the Olympic Games and will be effective during the next Olympic cycle.
That's right, Rika. As you're reporting, rules are sacrosanct, particularly when it comes to the pinnacle of sport. But the case being heard on a humanitarian ground, given the fact that the wrestler had to go through so much, and she's had an incredible journey otherwise as well. Thanks very much, Rika, for joining us with the latest from Paris. But moving now to the other big headline, well, Care for Kerala, our special NDTV campaign as we look at the situation in Wayanad, where the Prime Minister visited the epicenter of the landslides in Wayanad, and he took stock of the situation there. In fact, he also met victims of the tragedy, the injured and the families of those who have lost their lives in this absolutely horrific tragedy. Remember, the death toll is now well beyond 400. The Prime Minister, importantly, has said that this was not a natural disaster and it was not a common calamity. This amid demands for Wayanad being termed a national disaster. He also visited that crucial army bridge that was critical to the rescue operations. Listen in to what the Prime Minister had to say.
लेकिन मैं नहीं चाहता कि मेरा आने के कारण यहाँ के रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशन और रिलीफ एक्टिविटी में कोई रुकावटें हो, लेकिन आज मैंने पूरी विस्तार से सारी चीजों को देखा है और जब फर्स्ट हैंड इन्फॉर्मेशन होती है तो निर्णय करने की भी सुविधा रहती है। और मैं आपको फिर से एक बार विश्वास दिलाता हूं, मुख्यमंत्री की जैसी अपेक्षाएं हैं वो सारी अपेक्षाओं को पूरा करने में भारत सरकार पूरा प्रयास करेगी।
Prime Minister Modi's visit to Wayanad definitely assumes significance because it comes at a time when there has been a lot of politics playing out. One, between the state as well as the centre as far as the alerts are concerned. Two, with respect to the BJP as well as the Congress, with several opposition leaders claiming that this be declared a national disaster. But however, Prime Minister Modi has said that this is no natural disaster, but he has promised to lend support to the state government as far as the central teams are concerned. Remember, the central teams as well as the state teams have been working in sync as far as the rescue and relief efforts are concerned, and he has promised that this would continue for a longer time because he has now gained first-hand accounts by talking to both the rescue personnel as well as the survivors, because we are talking of Wayanad being a region that is susceptible to such landslides, and we are talking about raging debates as well whether this is a natural phenomenon or a man-made disaster. A lot of eyes are on Prime Minister Modi's decision and the concrete steps that would be taken by the centre, keeping in mind these first-hand accounts. And that is precisely why Prime Minister Modi's visit definitely is extremely important at this point in time, because we are talking of the landslides that have claimed more than 400 lives, and where a lot of hundreds of people have been stranded, thousands of families and homes that have been destroyed here. So how can one avert these landslides? How can Wayanad learn its lessons? These are some of the things that definitely needs to be closely watched with respect to Prime Minister Modi's visit there.
And well, NDTV is doing its bit with our Care for Kerala campaign. If you wish to join the campaign and donate for Wayanad or Kerala, you can use the details, the credentials flashing on your screen. Every bit really counts, as now the focus is on rebuilding Wayanad. Top celebrities, politicians have joined our campaign. Listen in to what they had to say.
Hi, I'm Shreya Saran. Kerala's Wayanad area is hit by devastating landslides, resulting in loss of lives and livelihood. Kerala needs your help right now. Let's join NDTV initiative. Come, donate. Let's rebuild Wayanad.
Landslide devastation in Kerala's Wayanad. Join NDTV's initiative. Donate for Kerala.
And moving now to some tragic news coming in from Jammu and Kashmir. 2 soldiers were killed in line of action in the Kokernag area of the Anantnag district in Jammu and Kashmir. This after there was a fierce gun battle and encounter between security forces and terrorists. In fact, 2 civilians have also been injured in the encounter is what we are being told, and 2 soldiers have been killed, 1 has been injured. Remember, even though the focus or the face of militancy has changed and shifted from the valley to the Jammu region, militancy is still not dead in the valley either. And moving now to the other big headline, well, another tragic story from Kolkata, where a trainee doctor was allegedly raped and murdered inside the premises of a government medical college. The accused has now been arrested. He's been charged with murder and rape. In fact, he was a police civic volunteer, is what the police say. The autopsy report reveals absolutely shocking details. Here's the report.
All of us who are standing over here, we've all were her childhood teachers. From class 5 to 12, she was in our school, and she was a brilliant kid and also an obedient one. And we can never forget her. She was the best flower in our bouquet.
आपको इस घटना से बहुत ही दुखित पा रहे हैं.
A young woman engaged in her postgraduate medical education brutally raped and murdered on campus at the Arjikor Medical College and Hospital. The police have arrested the accused and produced him in court, which has sent him to 14 days in police custody. The accused was not an employee at the hospital but had access to the premises.
For us, he is a criminal of the highest order, and we would see to it that he gets the highest punishment.
The ruling Trinamool Congress has demanded capital punishment for the accused, while the opposition BJP has asked for a CBI probe.
If there is any demand from the family that they want the investigation to be carried out by some other agency, from our side, there is absolutely no problem.
Meanwhile, doctors have joined students in their protest.
Ask for the very basic need for every professional, that is security, which we lack. What position she was in yesterday, 2 days back, all of us, all of the female doctors have been in that same position. We have given duties in single on-call rooms as single doctor.
अपने आप को इस घटना से बहुत ही दुखित पा रहे हैं और लगता है कि लेडी का सेफ्टी वर्क प्लेस पे होना ही चाहिए. Particularly doctors हमेशा soft target होते हैं.
Across the city, there were protests at multiple medical colleges. As the opposition in West Bengal, the left and the BJP targeted the ruling Trinamool Congress over law and order, the Trinamool Congress hit back, accusing the opposition of vulture politics.
With microphones blaring as part of the protests, it has become a trying time, not only for those inside the hospital who are worried about their safety and security when they provide service, but also patients who come to such public-run hospitals for service from different parts of the state. With camera person Aniruddha Tripathi in Kolkata, Saurabh Gupta, NDTV.
And moving now to news from Telangana, well, there were raids, ACB raids, in fact, on a Telangana civic body officer. Mounds of cash were recovered. In fact, assets worth over 5 crore rupees were also seized. My colleague Uma Sudhir has the latest.
Wads of 500 rupee currency notes stacked in cartons pushed under the bed at the home of a municipal superintendent in Telangana's Nizamabad district. Anti-Corruption Bureau officers were shocked to find nearly 3 crore rupees in cash, another over 1 crore rupees in bank accounts, 51 tulas of gold and documents pertaining to 17 properties worth nearly 2 crore rupees.
Dasri Nagendar is a grade 2 officer who has been entrenched in the Nizamabad Municipal Corporation for 2 decades after having got the job on compassionate grounds and having survived multiple changes in administrative and political leadership. Locals say he had developed contacts with local businessmen as well as political leaders when he worked as an assistant to a former mayor.
The Telangana government says it is to root out such entrenched corruption that the Chief Minister had last month issued orders that no government employee would stay in any post for more than 4 years.
Our Honorable Chief Minister Sri Revanth Reddy Garu on several occasions while addressing the public said any government officials who indulges in influencing politicians for promotions, transfers or any unlawful or illegal activities will be followed by Anti-Corruption Bureau and Vigilance. We have made commitment to the public before elections that there will be good governance, and good governance will only happen with good bureaucrats and government officials. To make it true, every official should cooperate and take the state ahead. On the contrary, any official who indulges in corruption will be taken action.
Narendra has been arrested and booked for holding assets disproportionate to his known sources of income. He has been sent to Chanchalgoda jail by a special ACB court for a fortnight. In Hyderabad, with camera person Nagaraju, Uma Sudhir, NDTV.
And look at the big international headline when India's External Affairs Minister S. Shankar met Mohammad Muizzu of the Maldives, and this is the first high-level trip of any Indian official after Mohammad Muizzu took office. Remember, Mohammad Muizzu is considered a pro-China leader and also somebody who campaigned on the India out policy, after which it has been a bit of a diplomatic tightrope for India that perhaps many would say India has worked successfully, given the fact that S. Shankar met with the Maldives Prime Minister, and in fact this also comes after Muizzu's visit to India for the Prime Minister's swearing-in ceremony as well. And with that, we'll take a short break now, but news continues on the other side. Welcome back. Our special report from Madhya Pradesh. Well, despite funds being transferred on paper, the local tribal bodies, or the green bodies, or EDCs as they are called, they have empty coffers in the state. Where is the money going? Well, the government says they will investigate irregularities in fund transfer. Anurag Dwari reports.
Over 25% of Madhya Pradesh is covered in forests, making it the state with the largest forest cover in India, representing over 12% of the nation's total forest area. Yet local communities, the traditional protectors of these forests, are being denied a share of the funds generated by tourism. The funds were to be transferred through the eco-development committees, fostering a relationship of trust between the forest department and the locals to ensure protection of wildlife. An in-depth investigation of eco-development committees in 4 major tiger reserves, Satpura, Kanha, Bandhavgarh and Kuno, revealed an alarming picture. At the Satpura Tiger Reserve, several EDCs are either inactive or have completely shut down due to lack of capital, despite funds in their accounts that have remained unused for years. The Raikheda village, displaced from the Satpura Reserve, had its EDC dissolved post-relocation, leaving the community with the support it once had.
समिति सुनने में आ रहा है आज भी है, लेकिन विकास कछु नहीं हो पा रहा उस संबंध में। भंग की कंडीशन में भी है और पता भी नहीं लग रहा है कितना पैसा आ रहा है, नहीं आ रहा है, क्या है कंडीशन क्या नहीं।
गांव वहाँ से हटा था उन लोगों ने, तो भंग कर दिए। पैसा है जमा है।
At Kanha National Park, the management claims to be regularly funding its 164 EDCs for community development, youth sports and self-employment training.
कुल 164 समितियां हैं, जिसमें से 149 समितियां बफर क्षेत्र में हैं और 15 समितियां जो हैं वो नेशनल पार्क एरिया में आती हैं। हमारे पास जो टूरिज्म से राशि प्राप्त होती है, उस राशि का लगभग 1/3 हिस्सा उनको दिया जाता है। तो संरक्षण के प्रति, वन्यजीव संरक्षण के लिए उनको सजग हम कर सकेंगे और उनसे सहयोग प्राप्त कर सकेंगे। टूरिज्म से कुल जो प्राप्त हुई है वो 33 करोड़ से अधिक है और हमने 10.5 करोड़ रुपए जो है वो EDCs को इन 164 समितियों को दिए।
However, documents contradict these claims, showing discrepancies in financial records. Similarly, in Bandhavgarh Tiger Reserve, local tribals report that their EDCs have not received fund up to 6 years, stalling crucial development projects.
इको विकास समिति में पैसा 6 साल से नहीं आ रहा है, न कोई विकास हो रहा है। यहाँ पर प्रस्ताव रखा जाता है, कागज कार्रवाई किया जाता है, लिख के भेजा जाता है, कोई कार्रवाई आज तक नहीं हुआ है। हमारे यहाँ कुआं का बाउंड्री कराना था कि जानवर न गिरे इसमें, हमारे ना लिख के ले गए थे कि बाउंड्री करवाएंगे, न उसको बाउंड्री हुआ।
4 सालों से पैसा एक विकास समिति बांधादेव खाते में नहीं आया है। प्रस्ताव हर मासिक मीटिंग लगती है, जिसमें प्रस्ताव पढ़ती रहती हैं और कागज दौड़ता रहता है और किसी तरह से विकास नहीं हो पा रहा।
The situation is equally grim in Kuno National Park, where 25 EDCs were established in 2004 to involve local communities in conservation efforts. Over the years, these committees have received no budget allocations, rendering them practically defunct.
मेरी 2017 से पोस्टिंग है इसमें। इको विकास समिति का चार्ज मुझे मिला है, 2017 से मिला है। जब से अभी तक कोई फंड नहीं मिला उनको। समिति की बैठक लेके, समिति के माध्यम से समिति की बैठक लेके गांव वालों को सूचित कर दिया जाता है कि ये फलानी योजना है आपके लिए।
The government has responded to these concerns by promising an investigation into the matter.
को देखवा लेता हूँ कि कितने वर्ष का कितना पैसा पड़ा हुआ है और आदिवासियों के विकास में लगना चाहिए। अगर नहीं लगाया है तो ये तो नेग्लिजेंसी है और इसके लिए पूछा जाएगा। बिल्कुल समुचित कार्रवाई करेंगे।
Wildlife activists also voiced their concerns, pointing out that critical role that tribals play in tiger conservation.
आदिवासी इस डेवलपमेंट का पार्टनर है। सरकार को ये स्वीकार करना होगा कि बाघों के संरक्षण में उसकी भूमिका है, उसने बलिदान दिया है। इसके लिए टाइगर रिजर्व में जब भी पर्यटक आते हैं करोड़ों रुपए की आय होती है, उसमें ईडीसी का प्रावधान होता है कि इको डेवलपमेंट कमेटी को भी प्रॉफिट शेयरिंग की जाएगी। हमें स्पेशल ऑडिट से ये पता चला है कि लंबे समय से ईडीसी को पैसा नहीं दिया गया है। कहीं ना कहीं आदिवासी के अधिकारों का हनन और बाघों की सुरक्षा में भी लापरवाही होगी यदि हमने उनको विकास की मुख्य धारा में नहीं जोड़ा।
The ongoing neglect of EDCs not only undermines tribal rights but also possesses a threat to wildlife conservation efforts. The relationship between the Forest Department and the local communities is built on trust, which is currently at risk due to the government's failure to provide the necessary support. The importance of addressing this crisis is to ensure that both tribals and wildlife thrive in harmony. The failure of state-level monitoring and the inaction of officials are threatening the very foundation of the eco-development in the region. In Bhopal, with camera person Rizwan Khan, Anurag Dwari for NDTV.